I'm Vicky from English Language and Literature, and I'm here today with the incredible Yara Jamal. She's a life coach in the Netherlands, and we're here today to discuss the intersection of language, literature, and growth. And without further ado, I will ask my first question to Yara. Yara, how do you think language and literature intertwine with your personal and professional growth?
Well, it's um, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the great
Thank you so much
introduction.
for joining us.
Sure. First of all, I would like to say that language plays a great role. It plays a huge role in how person is perceived. So let me start by telling you a little story about myself when I moved to the Netherlands. I'm originally Egyptian. And I
Hmm.
moved to the Netherlands with my family 8 years ago. And what happened is I tried to speak Dutch. So, how did I
The
learn the
struggle.
language? It was a struggle, of course, and I learned the language from cartoons. So I watched cartoons with my son,
No.
and you can, of course, imagine how would I sound to people when I'm a grown-up talking like a child, like a 4-year-old child. So I didn't sound like myself. I didn't sound smart. So I would keep thinking in my head, I swear I am smarter than this. I can use good words. I can use good expressions. But it was so hard to do that with a language you don't master.
Yes, it's a
So
barrier.
exactly. So now back to your question, when you say, how does language play a role in your progress and in your growth? I think it is vital to be able to express yourself freely,
Yes.
to say the words exactly as you think them, as you vision them, is to learn the language, is to be able to master it and to, like play metaphors, do something, paint a picture with your words.
Exactly. And in your experience, how do strong language skills influence one's career progress?
Well, as we think about the career progress, well, in the Netherlands, there is a huge international society, so you can speak English and still get a good job.
Hmm.
But if you were a Dutch speaker, if you did speak the language, the native language, there are plenty more opportunities that open up, especially in the career of life coaching.
Yeah.
So when I'm a life coach and I'm my like niche, my target
Hmm.
audience is women, and I want to empower women. I can think of a million Dutch women who would like to work with me, but they can't because I don't speak the language. So, it's a little bit limiting.
Yeah, there are certain limitations. And
Exactly.
how, if you don't speak the language, um, how can you be involved with the storytelling? Do you think storytelling plays a role in shaping your personal brand as Yara, the life coach, and hence your career? Maybe could you share some tips to
Well,
our
of course,
audience?
yeah, storytelling is, it's mostly about, tickling the imagination.
Hmm.
So if you don't talk about, if you cannot paint a good picture, if you cannot, I don't know, like express yourself, if of course other people would be a little bit confused on what you want to say, what your message is, and it's very important to share a clear message on what you want to say. And that's how when I started marketing for myself, and started going on different several marketing channels, everyone asked me, Yara, what is your message?
Hmm.
So I kept looking for a word to help people understanding what my message is. And the words I was looking for are a bit, I tried, like you can offend somebody without even meaning to. So I
Mm,
wanted to talk or address people who feel like they don't fit in within their social group, within a society. They feel like they don't belong anywhere. So the word I came out was that came out of my mind was the odd people, and it was a bit offending. I didn't mean to. I consider myself an odd person, it's fine. But in reality, what I meant to it was people who are unique, and that's the
mhm.
word. So you see here where these two words can make a huge difference in the
Yes.
message that you're trying
To
to send.
convey, yeah. No, absolutely. And I feel like it also depends on the setting that you are. If you're in an international setting, such as the Netherlands, sometimes words can mean something different in one's native language than it is in English or Dutch. Yeah, that happens also to me a lot.
There is
Uh,
also something that people overlook, and that is pronunciation.
yes, yes, yes,
Uh,
exactly.
how to
Uh,
pronounce one word, because that had caused me a little bit of understanding when I
yeah.
first came here.
How do you navigate these difficulties in differences of the language in
Communication.
communication?
That's the one word, like there is a universal language. There is the
Yes.
empathy. It's a
Mhm.
universal language. A
That's
smile is a
beautiful.
universal language. So when you are empathetic enough, when you have a nice smile on your face, when you are genuine and you are talking from your heart, person in front of you can understand that you mean them no offense and that you really are trying to learn their language, their native tongue. And you'd be surprised at how many people are willing to give time and to do some effort to help you as long as they feel your real
Yes.
self, your real investment in learning.
Shifting the conversation a bit, are any specific works of literature that have inspired you or perhaps your clients during challenging times, such as career setbacks or in general moments of uncertainty?
Well, yes.
Can you
Uh,
suggest maybe one example for
so you need me to share names of books or
that would
something like
be
that?
maybe lovely, like share a title of a book and maybe explain why it gave you strength.
Okay, there is this book.
Hmm.
It's called Positive Intelligence. And this book specifically, I hate to exaggerate, but it really changed my life. It shifted my
That's powerful.
perspective.
Hmm.
Yes, it is. And like I told you, I hate exaggeration, but this book, it's all about practicing positivity on a day-to-day basis. And, you cannot imagine how many of us and how many people in the world, I think everyone, they have this negative voice, their own self-limiting beliefs about themselves. And
Hmm.
when you address that, when you talk to that voice and understand that it has a good intention, that it was a way for you to survive as a child, to cope with the
Yes,
change. At first, when you develop that negative voice, didn't have a bad intention. But then as you try to flourish, to thrive in your own environment later in life, that voice doesn't belong here. So to build your own credibility, to build your own positive voice, your own positive attitude, you need to silence that voice or, like discredit it. So, okay, thank you. I hear you and I don't need that right now. And it's like a negative friend that you have, like when you're
yes.
trying to do something new and they attack you and they say,
You have
I
like
don't
this
think you
little
can do
voice of
that.
them. Yeah, yeah, it's like the little voice of them. You're like, oh, what if I do this? What are they going to think? Yeah,
Exactly. And you know what? When you discredit that voice and you start, of course, you don't just discredit it and just not hear any your own voice anymore. You need to replace it with a
Yes.
more positive voice, a more positive attitude. And when you do that, it even shows up on MRI, like that your brain chemistry has changed, that you are a more positive person now, that you are more creative, that you are more, I don't know, like courageous and brave. You are daring to do whatever you never dared to do before, and it opens doors for you. Like me here talking to you today. I was never comfortable doing a conversation like this.
I'm so happy that you are now, and it comes from like a great deal. I can tell from self reflection and inner work, and I feel like they're both really vital for career growth. How do you see literature facilitating this process, and why do you think it could be so impactful for oneself?
Well, as I look at it, I look at literature and other source, other types of
Any literature,
art, yeah,
mm, art, yeah.
as a way to deliver a message.
Mhm.
So, if you have done some reflections on your life, if you have done some work that really gave you great insights, and you decided to put all that in a book or in an article or on a blog, on a website,
Yes,
in any way, it means that you are delivering a message to the world, that you are letting people know that there is another way, that there is a way out of the struggle, out of the day-to-day work, because sometimes people lose sight of what they want to become, of who
yeah,
they want to become, and they are focused on the day-to-day work, like the grinder of the day-to-day. And then what if we were to pause for a second and reflect on that? Read a book, read an
yeah.
article, hear an audiobook, and I love the audiobooks that are read by their own author.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you feel like it's read by the person who wrote it. They pause where they need to pause to give you that reflect point, like, okay, here you need to stop and reflect. Here you need to go through it with flow and go faster. So literature is really a way of delivering the message, and it is an art, and
yeah.
it needs to be respected.
Are there any other literary works or characters perhaps you would recommend to someone that is feeling stuck or they seek personal growth?
Well, there is my blog.
Yeah, we can link it down below. I think that would be a good idea. Yeah,
Thank you.
for people to read.
Well,
Yeah.
what I have also encountered as a great read, there is a book by Brené Brown.
Hmm.
It is called Gifts of Imperfection. So it talks about how imperfect everybody is. And that doesn't mean that there is something missing. It means that you are unique and there is a
Yes.
strength in the vulnerabilities, and that we all have our own vulnerabilities, and that the second we start to accept and embrace it is the second we start growing and flourishing. So, how about, you know, it's an invitation from me to everyone who's listening. How about we pause for a second from the day-to-day work and ask ourselves that question: what do I need? Why do I do what I do? And acknowledge ourselves for pausing and for giving ourselves that chance to do something different with our
Yes.
lives. It is not easy. It's a huge choice that we get to wake up and make every day. But
No,
our time
absolutely.
on earth is limited, so why not utilize it?
Yeah. That's absolutely true. And maybe going into a more targeted direction, if someone has a background in English or literature, what advice would you give to them for building a sustainable and growing career in their creative industry, such as
First of all,
yourself? Yeah.
first of all, I would like to say when you are having the language skills, you are having a great tool in your toolbox.
Hmm.
Utilize it. So if you have ideas, if you have um, thoughts that needs to be spread, write it down, keep recording it. If you feel like you can help others deliver their message, that's another way, then you are like a messenger. You are taking a message from someone and delivering it to others using your tool. It's a great, uh, it's a great way to express oneself and also to help others who don't have that skill. So that's my message, utilize
Yeah.
your tool. And if you do what you really are passionate about and you give it your all, something is bound to happen. Something is bound to come out and you will shine. You'll shine like a star in your own career and in your own world.
Honestly, manifesting that, and also there are also people who have the same background, like aspiring writers or aspiring artists, but they feel like maybe they have this toolbox, but how can they use it in order to appeal in different fields like marketing, maybe teaching, or even content creation? Um,
Well, that's a great question.
yeah,
So, you know, my advice might not come as a new concept, but we are here to learn. So, how about you have a great tool in your toolbox that is like you have the language skills. So, how
very
about you
important.
combine it? Yes, it is very important. So, how about you combine it with another tool that is perhaps content writing, perhaps attending a course, listening to videos. So, from what I've learned, in order to create some kind of nice content, you
Yes.
have to be clear, concise, and you have to deliver your message, in a way that is flowing, that is capturing your
Mhm.
your audience. So, for example, if we were talking about social media, people in social media need like they have like 20-second attention span. So how
Yes.
can you deliver a whole message in 20 seconds? That's a huge study that has been made, and people have come up with huge ways and solutions, and they call it the hooks, like to capture the attention in
Yes.
the first 2 seconds, and then to deliver a message, and then in the last 2 seconds to give a call to action. So contact me or comment here or like my post or whatever you
Yeah,
need.
also all sorts of like thumbnails that are there to lure you in order to like click on the video and everything. Yeah, I feel like it's a whole
Exactly.
art. Yeah.
Exactly. It is art in art, and there are a lot of people who are doing it right now. They are very good at it, but they are lacking the language skills.
Hmm.
So, if someone were to combine these two together, they would do great things. They would do, like I said, they will shine because, like it's a learning process. So, everything that happens around us is a process. So, how about we say, read and learn. How about you start figuring out at first, what do you want to do? Why
Yes.
is it important to you? And who will you become when you do it? These three questions, these three important existential questions. And then after you figure out these things, you'll have a clear vision of what you want to do. Then you'll have a clear path on what to learn, what to read, what to courses to follow, what material that you need to understand. After that, you'll have the knowledge, to start. So as something else I also learned the hard way is experimenting. So
Yes.
dare to experiment, dare to trying new things. It's a bit challenging because sometimes you get rejections, and rejection is a part of life. just like acceptance. So it's a, like experimenting is also a big part of it. So be honest with yourself, be true to who you are. If you want to learn something new and you started learning it and give it time, give it effort, and you feel like it is not fulfilling, stop, start anew in a place where you are passionate about. And that is not quitting, that is not giving up. There is a thin line between quitting and giving up and really being true to self on what you want to do. So if you were really true to what you want to do, you'd be able to say, no, that is not what I want. I want another path in life, and I'm willing to stop and start anew somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
that sounds vital. I feel like that's a great message to convey to our aspiring writers and aspiring artist viewers. Do you think that this could be also facilitated for people who feel the burnout? I feel like it's coming, it's rising. More and more people are feeling burned out because of the grinding. Do you think that they could also um, use this kind of advice?
well, of course. So burnout is huge nowadays because, as I mentioned before, people lose sight of the who. They are always on the what level, like what to do next, what to do now, what to do in 10 days, in 10 years. They have a clear, like roadmap,
Yes,
but where is the destination? You have the map, but where is your destination? If you were to figure out your destination, you'll be able to keep going. You'll be able to keep at, challenges, obstacles. They will not seem so challenging if you hold your vision, holding your vision up high, like I'm looking at this. This is my end goal. This is my destination, and this is the way I do. So connecting the what you do to who you are is the anti-burnout.
yes. Sometimes I feel like there is a very clear path for people. They think they want that clear path, but by achieving certain goals, they don't really pay attention the changes that they occur with conceiving that goal. And then you cannot just move on to the next thing. I feel like you need to kind of like take a moment and realize if you actually want the next path, if you want to move forward with the path that you already constructed. Because
Exactly.
yeah, people change, and sometimes it's also very valuable to not lose the sight of who you are.
Exactly. And also, you have drawn my attention to something that I would love to say,
That's
like
amazing.
appreciate, thank you so much. Appreciate the small steps in life. So, people would have a clear vision, a great vision actually, and they would
Mhm.
do day to day, and they'd get burned out. They would feel weaker and feel a little bit frustrated because they didn't receive their vision, their end goal. But what if every step you take is one step closer to your goal? Why don't you celebrate that? So, like when we were children and we went to school, when you are in group first grade, you were not visioning yourself as a literature, student or you were just worried about the next exam, and
Yes,
the looking forward to the summer vacation and looking forward to the year after that. You were not looking forward to the end goal. You were looking forward to the small, concise, clear goal right in front of you,
yes,
and that goal is what keeps us going. So every time you do a little thing that takes you one step further, celebrate. Have a party, I don't know, take a cup
Yeah,
of coffee
something
with a
small.
friend, do
Yeah,
something for yourself and acknowledge yourself because that's what keeps us going. So, for example, on my Instagram channel, I celebrated 100 followers. Well, like a private account could
of
have
course.
100
Some
followers.
people celebrate their 700th day on Duolingo. I mean, I feel like that is really nice. I mean, if you feel like it's a big achievement, you should celebrate it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And not just that, today I feel, for example, if I feel overwhelmed and I don't want to do anything, and I got out of bed and I prepared breakfast for my family and I did some of my chores and then I went back to bed. Why not celebrate that? I was able to pull myself out of bed. I was able to be a good mom and a good wife and appear and see my friends and take a few phone calls. Why not celebrate it? Sometimes and on some days, even the slowest days, it's very important to acknowledge who you are and what you are doing in order to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you from experience, sometimes the biggest challenge is to get out of bed.
Yes. Yes. It is substantial. It's a huge part of the day. Yeah. In order to start the day. Yeah.
Exactly.
But
So,
sometimes it can be the most difficult.
of course, and it is okay to acknowledge yourself for doing it. So I didn't feel like getting out of bed today, and I got out of bed. So yay! Another days you celebrate a huge promotion, and
Yes.
you'll have, a huge, I don't know, like increase in salary or whatever it is that you consider
Yes.
success. And you'll also be able to celebrate that. So, like if you didn't get out of bed that day, you will not be here today celebrating that promotion. So let's just acknowledge every step of the way. It might be hard. And I understand that because I work with clients who struggle with the day-to-day work. But what I say is there is a universal language, and it's empathy. And we offer that empathy, we extend it to others. I extend it to my son, my family, people around me, but who else do I need to extend that empathy towards? It's myself. Have self-compassion. So if person were to start inside on their self-compassion, speak the global language, speak the universal language, and say, okay, I did it. I got out of bed. And then the next day you take a step further and further until you reach your goal. So don't give up. Whoever it is, aspiring writer, aspiring artist, trying to start their career, and it might seem sometimes that there are millions like you doing the same thing that you do. What makes you unique is you. Your journey is unique. It is only applying to you. And what makes the journey unique, and you could take the same learning path as million other students, but what makes you unique is how you react to everything you see and every day. So acknowledge yourself for that and shine that light, shine that inner light, that says I am unique, I am different, and even though the language is different, I can do it, I can make it.
I feel
Thank you.
like a lot of people will be happy to hear this, and maybe they needed to hear this. Maybe even I think even myself. Um, before we wrap up, do you have any final words of wisdom that you would like to resonate with our viewers about their career direction or their personal growth?
Yeah, it's about self-doubt. So sometimes it's very easy to judge ourselves and say that we don't have what it takes. But, when the movies tell that success stories, they tell it wrong. do not trust the success stories that are told in movies when where someone pops into a chance and they become rich and famous. That doesn't happen. What really happens in life is that we stumble and we fall down. We pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and keep going.
Yes.
So self-doubt is big, it's huge. And the more you listen for it and talk back to it and say, no, that is not me. I am not that person that you're telling me that I am. The more that you push back on it, you take the credit from it. So do not doubt yourself. Reflect. I'm not saying do not reflect. I'm not saying do not grieve an opportunity. Yeah, that could happen. We could lose something that is big and we could grieve that opportunity and be sad about it. But then use that sadness to understand what went wrong and how I can move further with it. And instead of saying, I'm never going to make it, say, how else can I make it? Do not make your life about survival. Make it about having fun. So, for example, if you were reading a book or even writing a book and you
Yes.
feel stuck, what would you do? What if you tell a joke? What if you think of someone having fun? What if you go out yourself and have fun for a second and think how can I go on from here? Because our brain it's wired to embrace the negativity more than positivity. So we want to push back on that, tell our brains to embrace the positive feeling, the fun feeling, the joyful feeling. And whenever you try and embrace that, you'll be empowered. You can even feel it physically in your spine
Yes.
that you're strong, you're standing tall. And that word standing tall, it is actually a physical thing,
Yes.
but it is describing an emotional thing. So that's here what I'm saying. Don't doubt yourselves. Stand tall.
This, and maybe you can feel inspired afterwards. Thank you so much, Yara, for today. And I will reach out to our viewers. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe and visit Yara's blog down below and maybe book a session. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.